Hi, I'm Will Potter. I'm a journalist, author, and senior fellow in the Center for Academic Innovation at the University of Michigan. Here at the university, I have a really unique role that I love, which is that I get to help both students and faculty use storytelling techniques to share their narratives. In this video from the series It's All Storytelling, I'll be discussing the importance of finding your own narrative. The reason I'm so passionate about this is really because if you're able to speak clearly, if you're able to identify the components of powerful narratives, it's going to set you apart no matter what profession you go into. Whether you're a journalist or a filmmaker, you go into computer science or engineering, it's going to set you apart. And that's really for the fundamental reason that we as human beings make sense of the world through story. It's what defines us as a species. If there's anything that makes us unique as humans, it's not that we can feel pain or that we love or that we mourn or even that we communicate, because we see all of those things in many other animal species. What sets us apart, in my mind, is that we create, derive, and share meaning through the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves. This is how we process the world. And that being said, there's lots of different types of storytelling that we encounter in all of our lives, right? Storytelling can be used as a marketing ploy to get us to buy things. It can be used in politics and propaganda to deceive us or to mislead us. It can be used to add beauty and joy to our lives through film and fiction and poetry and journalism. For our purposes, though, and for how we're thinking about it, especially in this university context here at Michigan right now, I want to carve out a special type of storytelling. And I think that if we're going to talk about fact-based narratives, about searching for truth and expanding our knowledge about any given topic, we have to look to journalists. In my unbiased opinion, of course, as a journalist, this is where it all begins. And I say that because this is what we do every day. We transform complex, diverse, factual materials into public narratives for a public audience. And hopefully that's engaging, that people actually want to hear about, and that is useful for their lives as well. First and foremost, though, before I start giving you all tips about how to incorporate any storytelling techniques in your own work, we need to talk about what a story is and what it isn't. Right out of the gate, we have to remember that it's not a theme and it's not a topic. I see this all the time in kind of consultations and discussions around campus. What is the story you want to tell? Climate change. That's a little too much, right? In newsrooms, we talk about framing. Kind of think of a picture frame or a camera frame, and you're only able to take on so much in that frame at a time, right? And another way of thinking about it would be, what's the news peg, or what's what we call in newsrooms the nut graph? If you had to distill what you're telling a story about into a paragraph, into a couple of lines, if you were just passing a friend in the hallway that was asking, what are you up to these days? How would you break that down for them? And what I like to do, no matter what story I'm working on, is actually to try to write that out early. It might change, and it probably will change as you get into the reporting and research process. But to have it really front and center, so you know this is your marching order. This is why you set out to tell this narrative. As part of that, we have to ask ourselves, what makes the story that we want to tell different and hopefully better than what's already been told? And for you all, why are you the ones to tell it? If you can't answer some of these questions, and that's natural, we all face that in any part of the storytelling process, you have to do one of two things. You got to go back and do more research. You have to rethink how you're conceptualizing the issue, maybe take it in a different direction, learn more, focus more, or you need to refine. You need to take this. I always think of, being a journalist as kind of drinking from a fire hose, right? Or you have this giant funnel of all these diverse materials that you're drawing in your research and throughout the university, and you have to distill it into a succinct narrative, and drop your clicker, that is going to be easy for your audience to understand.